this week on the Beyond Worlds podcast, we're doing a game review. We have finished Split Fiction, and I'm going to let Joe take it away.
If we have been playing Split Fiction, so we've been playing it on our Twitch. If you want to see the videos, please do check them out on the channel. They're unlisted, but they're there. And today, as Steve said, it's a little review episode. So come and join us.
In 74 different thousand... Yeah, that. In another world. So...
Hello and welcome back to another Beyond Worlds podcast. I'm Beyond Joe.
And I'm Stephen. And we are Split Fiction.
No, it's happened. Finally, the podcast is ending.
Oh, no. Never.
No, we're not splitting.
Don't say these things. I was going to say at the start, shout out to Keith. How you doing, Keith? Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Big up, Dad.
Love you a lot.
So we're not splitting. We've been splitting some fiction, haven't we?
We've been splitting all the fiction. I just got to say, I love this game. I really, really enjoyed myself. Yeah. Genuinely, probably one of the most fun games I've played this year.
That's awesome. I don't think you're alone in your love for Split Fiction, especially not when it comes to me. I think this is a great game. So for those who don't know, Split Fiction is a Hazelight video game released towards the end of last year. Was it this year it came out?
No, it came out this year.
It was this year.
You got it
straight away.
Only in June. Yeah, you got it right away, and we pretty much started playing it, didn't we? Well,
so
a couple of weeks after
this year, man, it's been nuts. But so we've been playing it since it released. And you're absolutely right. We've been playing it this year. And came out with critical acclaim. Everyone really liked it, especially as it's the follow-up to their video game It Takes Two. And you have to play this game co-op. You cannot solo it.
Yeah.
So it's really, really strong emphasis on co-op, and that's what the game's about. Really, is co-op.
Yeah. I was a bit iffy at the start. This game, it honestly, playing the game flipped me as I was just playing it because you wanted to play it.
Yeah, I do that.
I don't have to pay anything for it. Why not? Which amazing feature of a game.
That's cool as well, right?
Like
the friends pass.
Do not force two people to buy it. Be like, yeah, cool, man. We make you have to play this with two people. Here's the ability to without the second person needing to purchase the game.
Invite anyone you want.
Yeah. And can you do that as many times as you want?
Yeah. I can.
That's fantastic.
I thought it was just the one, but no, I can do that as many times as I want because I own the game.
That is such a solid addition from a studio. When you take into account all the bullshit that AAA games put you through now. I was if that had been EA or Ubisoft, it would have been locked to my account straight away.
Yeah.
And you would have had to purchase an extra pass for £14.
Yeah.
14 is a random number, but that sounds about right. Probably more.
They could have easily monetized, like you said, either making you buy 2 copies of the game. It's not unheard of. That's most multiplayer games. Or the just charge you a small fee, like you said. £5 for a friend pass. That's for what we got out of it. And it's not an expensive game anyway. It's about a £30 game. It's like an indie price title. It's not.
Yeah. I was thoroughly impressed. I was very meh at the start and the intro to it. I was like, oh, this is kind of corny. But the character stereotypes that they play into, I was like, oh no, the character development so the character development of them from the beginning to the end was so good. And even though it wasn't really a lot of it, you understood both of them very well by the end, and their motives for loving writing books and stories. Well, not books. They don't really write books before, I guess. They just write their little short stories or stories. We don't really know, I don't think. But I was like, man, Miho's a bitch. I'd slap this chick if I ever met her. She's
Yeah,
annoying as
Mio
fuck.
is
I loved
very
her
annoying.
chick. She was great. She was all happy and yeah. It was a little bit annoying, but like I really like the optimism. But Mio is sad and depressing, and like angsty and annoying. But I sort of love that about her at the end. Like, yeah, let's go fuck up some shit.
By the end, full spoilers for Split Fiction, by the way, throughout this episode. We haven't really got into it. It's a review, look over. We've finished the game as of last night, so we wanted to sit down and talk on the podcast about Split Fiction. So full spoilers. But yeah, by the end, all of Mio's characterization, all that moodiness, was sort of warranted to a degree. You understood why she was that way, and then also she learned that it was not a normal way to be, not like an okay.
It was to her detriment.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like she's a much better person by the end of the game. I would say, I can't remember the other girl's name.
Zoe.
I thought it might be, but I don't want to say it and be wrong. I feel like she has less character development, but it's more subtle with her. Mio's is very in your face. Zoe's is quite, you got to not think about a little bit, but it's all there. You just sort of need to pull apart some of the little bits to get it. But Mio goes through she proper goes through it.
Yeah.
I mean, they both do to a degree.
Yeah.
They both have, like real sad backstories.
But... They do, but Zoe's is almost a bit like I feel her backstory, that only part of the game which I think maybe falters, and I mean like it's a slight trip. It's not, because I really enjoyed it too. It was Zoe's backstory, because I thought they nailed Mio so well and it clicked and it was quite deep and things like this. And with Zoe's, it's an awful thing to say, but quite cliche, like my sister drowned, I tried to save her, it was my fault, we went down there, she died. That's such a told story, and there was no nuance to it. There was no, and I don't quite understand how she got over it. Does that make sense? I still didn't feel at the end of her bit that she actually had gone, okay, I forgive myself and I'm going to move on. I sort of felt like deep down she was like, nah, it was my fault. I don't know.
Yeah, like Mio has a proper complete character arc.
Yeah.
Zoe's, it feels like there's chunks missing. And maybe that might be, maybe the side stories might fill that in a bit more.
Maybe some stuff that we missed.
Maybe not fully, yeah, because there was a lot of points where we could both sit on benches, couldn't we? And they'd have a chat about some stuff. So we might have missed some things.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't think they would put too much of that into the side stories, you know?
Yeah,
they did seem, all the side stories were pretty wacky compared to what's going on in a game that is already pretty freaking wacky.
Yeah. Shall we me and you are good at doing this, where we just go off on tangents. Shall we pull it back, seeing as you brought up side stories, things like that? What, Stephen, is the main premise? Can you remember the main premise of the story? All that time ago now when we started it.
What, so like the narrative premise?
Yeah. Then what's the narrative premise? And the gameplay we can get onto as well.
There is 6 writers. I don't know if any of them are published or whatever, but there's 6 writers, and they go to a big a corporate event thingy that they've been invited to beta test this machine thing. And this machine thing puts them in an orb, which lets them live through the stories that they've written, sort of thing. Well, that's how they think it's going to go. Really, there's a dark ulterior motive. But Mio is a bit like, well, she's Mio about it. She's a bit like, she's very skeptical to start with. She's like, yeah, something here ain't quite right. This is a little bit weird. What the fuck's going on? So he's like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it. Which I understand, because she was writing about dragons and shit, so who doesn't want to do that? Mio knew her stories were a bit fucked up, and she was going to have to go through some hard times. So I can understand why she was skeptical to go into her orb. Each of these people are meant to be in one orb, and Zoe and Mio end up in one together, which sends the machine into kooky overdrive, but just for them, not for anybody else.
Yeah.
I think.
No.
They didn't really talk about anyone else. and then they go on wild ride through their stories, which get all mixed up because both of them are in the orb. They sort of find these glitches, which are just like cracks in the code, I guess, which allow them to jump from story to story or go as they're trying to figure their way out. And the person that made the machines just gets more and more and more pissed off that they're not doing what he wants and doing what they want, and goes on a bit of an ego trip.
Yeah, big bad raider.
Yeah,
The publicist.
Honestly, whole game could have been sorted if his two technicians had some balls.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we? There were so many points where they could have just gone, hey, no, let's not potentially murder test subjects. We're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting that.
Yeah, and so like Mio's stories are all sci-fi based, pretty much all sci-fi.
Yeah.
You get to be like cyber ninjas and more cyber ninjas and more cyber ninjas. Sort of.
She's just all different types of cyber ninjas.
Yeah, and then Zoe's you're going into like magical fantasy worlds, dragons, magic, talking animals, that sort of shit.
Yeah, animal morphing, don't you?
Yeah,
lots of animals.
That was a fun one. I thought it was a fun one. But yeah, that's basically sort of like the narrative premise, I guess.
Yeah, no, you've nailed it, I think. And gameplay wise, it's split screen 90% of the time. For some boss battles, for some like key story elements, you come together. The end takes that split up to 11 and beyond. That last chapter is crazy with it. It's really clever.
That was some incredible gameplay.
Yeah, and incredible graphically computering. I was like, how is it doing all that? Because it's all got to be running at once to not glitch and to not. Yeah. I'm not surprised your internet at times you said it was going like a bit like because there's obviously a lot going on in the background of this game.
that last one was crazy because if you think like most of the time you and whoever you're playing with, you're left side of the screen, right side of the screen. This one, depending on where I walked, gave Joe more vision and would split the split from the middle would go vertical, diagonal, and move with me. So we both had to move around clockwise, anti-clockwise to show each other more of the path that we could go onto. I wasn't expecting that at all.
No, there was the point that got me was when it split, but then we could actually go into each other's side because that's never ever happened. And that was like, wait, what? I'm not supposed to be able to go onto your screen, and I'm on your screen, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Why am I on your screen? Yeah,
that was proper cool. I can't think. Well, I mean, I haven't really played many of that sort of style game, but I don't. There's not a game like it I've ever played.
No,
I don't think.
Well, saying that, what it does do, which is not a game that's wholly like it, but this game, unlike any other, the way it pulls from all genres, all different styles of game. So, like at one point, you'll be doing the heavily, which is the main sort of gameplay, the action platforming. So jump from here to here, hit this switch, move this thing, blah blah blah. Then it will be a top-down twin stick shooter. Then it will be a sort of Zelda style top-down thing. Then you're flying with dragons. Then you're doing like Pilot Wings-esque drops and pinball. There's a whole pinball game in there that was two-player pinball was a whole thing. That's like where one of you plays as the ball and one of you has to do all the triggers. Like that was
Flippy
kooky.
Flippies. Yeah.
And the funny thing was, I remember getting to a point, maybe we were about halfway through the game, and I just turned around to you and said, like, we haven't had any like third-person shooting elements yet. And I remember we jumped out of the water, and it was like, boo boo, there's the gun. It was just, you could read what was going to happen. You knew right there, going through every gameplay style almost in existence. But massively worked in its favor. It stopped me getting bored with the splitting the worlds. It made so much sense. It didn't pull you out of like, oh, I can't play this anymore. It's unrealistic because now I'm at a different viewpoint. Nah, that worked. That was cool.
No.
Yeah.
Honestly, all the platforming was so much fun. I fucking love platforming. Just give me a jump. Like, not to compare it, but the last time I played Final Fantasy 14, yeah, I spent like 2 weeks straight not playing the game, just in the Golden Saucer doing platforming challenges for like the Golden Saucer currency because there was a boost thing in it. So I might go out and like do some mining between games, but then I'd be straight back to the Golden Saucer to be like jumping on sticks up to the highest point, sort of thing, and that to me was more fun than raiding. Like, I would prefer to sit and do that. No, I'm not doing dailies, man. I'm jumping up these rocks. I'm getting some points.
Out of my way, that my rocks.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great fun. I think I got very lucky because I'd just come off of Jedi Survivor. I'd been doing a lot of platforming in that because that's heavy platforming with a bit of combat. And yeah, I felt proper in my element.
That's good. There were so many points of it where, like, it would both work in favor and against it when you'd like foresee the next jump you need to do, and so many times you'd like bypass part of a puzzle, and I'd be like, dude, that's skills. And then likewise, there'd be times where you try, and the game would be like, nah, motherfucker, I know what you're about to do.
No, you're falling. Fuck off. Go away. No cheese.
And the thing is, though, there's no penalty really to fall. You zoom back straight away, unless you're in a boss fight where you need to jam triangle to bring yourself back. So if you both die during a boss fight, you start over. And again, that's not even that punishing.
Yeah, that's it.
Because it doesn't start you at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, I was going to say it has checkpoints throughout the fight because boss fights are quite long.
Yes, some of them are really long.
They feel properly like just platforming boss fights as well. Yeah. Most of them, apart from that last one where we kept getting guns, it just felt like do the thing to do damage. And actually, that first one where we were the cyber ninjas and we had swords. None of the others, although they were boss battles, really felt like boss battles. That one against Dark Neo in her subconscious, where it was we did no damage to her apart from me taking over her and throwing balls at her face. That was great though. That was a great fight.
No, it was. But again,
I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was nice to see some like platforming boss battles done really, really well. Because you sort of just expect a jump on them, sort of thing. Where it was right. Here's all these mechanics that you've used during the level, all in one place.
Yes,
which was really fun.
And you sort of mentioned it as well. While we go through these levels, and each level sort of has a big boss at the end. I think there was 7 or 8 altogether. These levels, and the first chunk of levels, they have like secret sub levels that you can go into, and that's where a lot of the gameplay can get wacky with a capital W, because there was one point we were sausages and we had to cook ourselves. That was something, and then put ourselves in a sandwich. It was just bizarre. Well, there's another we were a teeth at a birthday party.
Playing Fall Guy.
Playing Fall Guys. Fall Guys, that's it. And then out of nowhere, we knew. Well, we could tell something was going to go down, and then it turns into a horror game, which is even more bizarre. I still think that dentist should have like clawed through. Come out at the end. One of the biggest gameplay switches.
Moment.
Oh, go please.
Oh no! So that's what I was going to say.
As in it would have solidified it. Yeah, no, I got it. Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was
proper Terminator style.
Yeah, just have the arm come out and start like clawing towards you, and like if you went back there, the claw had carried on going or something.
That would have been good. But one of the levels that really sticks out to me, and partly because I think both of us were like, "Oh fuck yeah, I need a bit of this right now." That was like the SSX level, where it's just out of nowhere a random snowboarding, doing tricks. Like, what? Yeah. Why am I now on this? And the levels that level was so bright, colourful, with loads of stuff going on, and it made me really want like an arcadey, snowboardy game. I thought, this kind of a game would be brilliant. I'd love to play a whole game based around this.
I need it.
And we sort of mentioned that you can sit on the benches and stuff, but so they'll maybe give a bit more backstory. But I did appreciate this game. told you so much of the conversations between the two of them, so much of the story was while we were playing, and the sort of they were talking
Yeah.
amongst each other. And I really like that sort of gameplay and storytelling where it's not relying on, oh, we're at the end of the chapter now, let's stop and all put everything down for 5 minutes to catch everything up. I don't want that. And yeah,
or like the Souls style where you get no lore and have to read every single item description to figure out what's going on. Which,
yeah,
cool way to do it. Not slating Souls at all because I'll get murdered for it. But yeah, great way to do the story. I like the story being told to me. Just parts of it. You don't have to tell me all of it. I'll try and figure out some stuff, but I got to like write down in a notebook everything that someone says to me, and then like, oh, that's because this item is from blah and blah and blah. I'm like, that just makes me want to go and bonk things instead of care about the story.
yeah.
You know? I
Unfortunately,
just want to power through and hurt everything. I'm like, I don't care that Marika is a man woman and is Radagan at the same time as being Marika. Just let me kill them. You haven't told me anything about this unless I read 14 specific item descriptions. But yeah, the conversation flow between Mio and Zoe was very good, especially showing how them develop as friends as well.
Yeah.
Or best friends forever.
Best friends forever, BFFs. The one thing I think could have been slightly better, and I think this is very much by choice, and I think this is just a me thing, but often me and you would go off like exploring off the beaten track slightly, and we find something that we know is a thing. Like this thing is like there's a basketball net and there's a basketball. Okay, I've shot my shot and I scored. Nothing is acknowledged. It's just like, yeah, you did it. Whereas there are other points where those things are acknowledged, but because it wasn't acknowledged all the time, it's maybe just stop looking for it. I just wasn't
like
hunting them down.
It would have been kind of lame, but a checklist would have been useful. Like even like
yeah,
I don't know if at the end or you're close to the end, you can these things are here. Maybe I don't know. I suppose you didn't really have menus because I don't know. It was
no.
But I get 100% what you mean. Like those benches that we sat on, we like the first one we found. I think we not sat on by accident. I was like, oh, there's a bench. I can sit on it. And then we both sat on it, and the screens came together, and the split disappeared, and they started talking about, I'd have been on the lookout for some benches. Otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they just maybe pointed out the first one, so that you're like, yeah, cool. I know to look for these. Which I get is a bit of hand holding, which people say they don't like anymore, but you got to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, I just would like, and I mean, that's the thing with trophies and stuff like that. It didn't even have to be a trophy, just some sort of a vocal acknowledgement of like score, wow, you did great. I think, you know, just something where instead of just silence, because like, well, is there still something for me to do here? Should I just grind at this for ages?
To be fair, we probably should have played a game of like first to 11.
But this is,
I don't know.
This is it, right? Who knows? It does seem that there is secrets in there. There seems to be quite a lot of secrets in the game, which is cool. And that's cool that people can hunt that down. I don't think, I mean, looking at the end, I think I had about 12% of the trophies, which is nothing. Like,
yeah, that's mad.
Barely touched it.
I had a look at a couple of the secret things on the way to work today, but I don't really fancy sitting through 25 Easter eggs in Split Fiction videos.
Yeah.
I saw a couple that were cool. So there's one, I don't know if we might have found this one, but there's an area you could go under, you could crouch under a wall, and there was two dudes in cells. This was in one of Miho's levels, and those two guys were the two main characters from the previous game. They were locked in cells, and you could choose to leave them in the cells or drop them to their doom. So I vaguely remember dropping some people in some cages to their doom, but I don't know if my brain's just making up that memories after I watched the video.
Yeah, I don't.
Like they have a whole chat between themselves, like, "No, don't drop it. We'll die." Blah 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 blah. And then if you run away, they're like, "Fuck's sakes, man, I hate you." Yeah, there's that one. I mean, I think if you completed all the side stories, there was a special, so there is a super special secret level, which the first people to complete got an invite to go to the studio and
That's crazy.
see the next game in progress. Well, you get to the end and it's a big screen, and then the head of the studio pops up in a video, like, congratulations for getting through this secret laser level. If you're the first people to complete this, let us know. We try verify it, and we'll fly you up.
That's just so cool. I like that. It reminds me of like old
No,
Atari games, uh, like
yeah,
quests and puzzles and achievements, but real world ones. That's fun.
yeah. And no one really does that anymore. Like doing like world firsts. Like people like in
Yeah,
WoW and Final Fantasy and stuff, you get them for being like the first. You get your world first, I guess, for being the first people to beat a new raid. But you don't get, apart from people that, oh yeah, cool, they did it first. There's nothing really to acknowledge it. I suppose being world's first on those games just means, no disrespect, but you're sat at your computer playing sweaty.
yeah.
So,
That's gotta be your life, right?
yeah, credit to you, I can do that shit.
I remember there was a bit of the back of my head when Destiny 1 first came out, and I was like, maybe we'll be the first people to do the raid. No. Oh, I was so hopeful.
Yeah. Ken would have
Um,
aimed for that.
oh, no,
Big
that was
time.
our.
If
That,
you'd
that's who I was playing with, so that's why.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he definitely would have been like, "Come on, Joe, come on." I can imagine him egging on every second of every day because I didn't play it, and he was going on at me about it. Yeah, we're going to go do this raid in Destiny. Are you just trying to make me jealous? I don't have that PlayStation. I can't do it. Now I'm
Um,
going to go do Destiny 2's raids all on my own.
yeah, good luck. Um, to get back to Spit Fiction, something you did mention at the end, which is just something to think about, is unless obviously you can chapter select and go through and get missing, side stories and try and hunt down secrets and little Easter eggs. Um, but generally speaking, when you're done with the game, you're done. Um, you
Yeah,
yeah, you
I
get
mean, like we said
different.
yesterday, you could play through as the other character,
Yes,
but
because the different girls get different power ups the whole way
I,
through.
I don't feel like that would enhance the experience much, though. Because you're still doing the same puzzles, just from the other side.
Yeah,
Some people might. Like, if you were going to play it again, I could see you playing as Miho and Belle being um, Zoe, for example.
yeah,
But, like, I wouldn't want to play it again just as Zoe,
fair
you
enough.
know?
Yeah, um,
Because we've done it. And it'd
yeah.
just be the same. And plus, Miho did have kind of objectively cooler powers.
She did. That was something I did want to bring up. Is that so? Each of the people do get different powers and stuff. And although I think in terms of environment, Zoe's was a bit more because Mio's is all like sci-fi, very grey, metallic. The acid.
Hmm.
Whereas Zoe's was like forests and the sky and castles and all these like pretty things. When it comes to each of their powers, Mio seemed to get all the firepower or the um, fun
Yeah. Like,
explosive stuff.
you had a dragon that couldn't fly, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a
come
kicker.
on.
Just a dragon that
That
can't
that
fly, can't
that
breathe
upset me a little
fire.
bit.
Because yeah,
You don't do that.
your dragon flew and it breathed acid fire, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mine
I mean,
rolled.
well, I couldn't fly. I could glide,
Okay, fair.
but still, like, you got wings. You're a dragon. You flap them
Yeah, I
a
just
little bit.
rolled around the place.
Yeah. That upset me for you because that you don't do that to dragons unless like
Yeah,
you take
nerfed
their
him a
wings
bit.
away and then yeah. But even then, dragon doesn't have wings. They still fucking fly. But that's
Nah,
my one negative. There was a dragon that couldn't fly.
the dragon that can fly. Yeah. But throughout, I do think, like, even when it comes like the drones, you had a cool a Mio, sorry, gets a cool what are they called? Nanobot drone, where you could go into things,
Yeah,
you
that was pretty
could,
sweet.
yeah, and then you could glide again still. And I had a magnet ball, was a ball that was magnetic. It's
You were kind of like you were Magneto a little bit.
yeah. Well, when the ball became me, that was a cool power up because then I could like zoom around and stuff. But yeah, generally speaking, it just seemed a lot of the way through, I think. And again, pulling back to that stories concept I said about like Zoe's journey and Mio's journey, Mio just seemed to be the character with a little bit more focus. I don't know why I felt that
Yeah,
way. I don't know.
yeah. Even like Zoe's levels felt not about Zoe; they felt about her stories
Yeah,
because she used her stories to write about her sister, whereas
yeah,
Miho sort of used her stories to vent her feelings about her dad.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, because they're two different writers, right? They're not going to write the same stories. But I think Miho's trauma was funneled really heavily into her. The trauma was funneled into her stories, where Zoe's was she was writing about how much she loved her sister,
Yes. Yeah.
basically. So
It was more of a celebration.
it's yeah, exactly. Whereas Miho was fighting against her destiny, Zoe was a bit more accepting of it, I think.
Deep, dude. I like that a lot.
Well, it comes out occasionally.
Okay, every now and again. um, so you mentioned Belle and me playing it. So Belle's my wife. I think everyone knows this. Hi, Belle. Um,
Hi, Belle.
and one of the things this game I heard a lot of people talking about when this game first came out was like, oh, it's so great to play this game with my kid. Oh, it's so great to play it with my other half who doesn't really play games. Blah 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 blah. From the amount I played with Belle and from playing with you, bullshit. Like it's, I don't think it is that perfect first game. It's hard, man. There are yes, you die, no consequences. The actual gameplay's hard.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it would be a good game playing with a newbie gamer. I can see that because it does handhold you a little bit at the start. Well, not handhold, but it is simpler at the start until you get to that first boss battle and your ninja sword and everything. It is just sort of I don't know. See, the thing is, I'm saying this from a biased place of being a gamer of 30 years,
Yeah.
so might just be chatting straight out my ass and it'd be like, yeah, no, this was actually really hard. But I don't
I
know. I think I don't know. I haven't played it with anyone else. I'm trying to
what
put words onto a topic I have absolutely zero clue what I'm talking about.
so an example that I would go to is the pinball part when you're in Mio's subconscious and we're playing this pinball game.
Mm.
Now, I personally don't know how well I'd have done with your bit because you were controlling the flippers, things like this. I don't know if my skill level would have been there to smash that. I would have got there eventually. I'd have hammered my head against it long enough. Um, but that took a lot of like precision timing and moving, and you're running away from explosives and all this stuff. And then likewise on my side, if you don't know to jump and move and just get into little places, if you don't have an intimate knowledge of a controller,
Mm.
if you don't understand controllers and twin sticks, I think you're gonna really
Yeah.
struggle with the game.
So I think as the other thing, we did power through.
Yeah,
We just went. Whereas I think if you were doing this game with somebody of a lower skill level, if you took your time a bit more, it would probably be better. Whereas we were just like we were expecting the other one to know what to do.
yeah, which a lot
You
of time
know?
we did, which was nice. It was a very
Yeah. But
peaceful way to play.
that's 30 years of playing games. It I think it with somebody new, it needs a lot more communication, a heck of a lot more as well. And I think as a gamer of 30 years, as gamers of 30 years, sorry, we don't really know how to do that,
No,
because the gamers that we know are same as
no,
us, been playing
yeah,
games since we were like 5 years old. Um, so you expect that innate ability. Oh, look, it says push R1, or like you said, another one where I went straight over to the block and jumped up it and was going the right path. That sort of thing, you just need to slow down and be like, maybe explain your thought process for this. Like, so right, look at this room. How do you think you pose it as a question? Maybe how do you think we're gonna get up and out of this? What around the room do you think we could climb up? What do you think? You would have to be the tutorial of the game. So I don't know. I think it requires a hell of a lot of this game, especially if it was a shooty game. You're like, this trigger on the right hand side, hold that down.
Yeah, that's
Push
it.
square
It's
occasionally
straightforward.
and reload.
If you go down, shout me. I'll come
a
get you.
special ability. Yeah. Whereas this actually requires communication and gameplay. Like you have to play the game. You can't just like brute force it. So I think if you took some time, stood back and was like, how do you think we should solve this? And then let them try and be like, right, that was a great try. This, right, so if we go over to this, can we jump up on this? Can we go this way? And you'd have to really slow it down and actually talk. Whereas a lot of the times, we just didn't talk. We were like, cool, man, right, you got to stand under me and I'm going to go through this laser grid and you won't fucking move.
Yeah.
But our brains know that.
We just say something like top corner. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know what the other person's talking about, whereas you got to... I think it would just be a case of slowing down a lot. Like, it would take twice as long to complete the game. Although we didn't take all that long. I don't think in the grand scheme of things we took all that long playing it. Maybe like 15 hours, 20 hours tops.
Well, yeah, it's billed as a 12-hour game.
30 with a new person. Okay, so we probably did like 15 to 18 maybe. But I think with a brand new player, you'd speed up towards the end.
Yeah.
Because their confidence would grow. But I think those first few levels would take you a lot longer.
Yeah. I do doubt whether or not a brand new gamer could finish it. I just, that's without the other person having to take control at some point and go, no, you need to just do this. But a lapsed gamer, maybe someone who has only ever played FIFA, someone who has an understanding of a controller, I think is different. That's sort of where my head's at. So I think so long as you have held a controller, you've ran around a level, you've done something, you've shot someone, you've played a game of COD, you've played FIFA. If you've done something, I think you get there in the end. But I still, personal experience, I just think it takes that.
I would disagree.
That's nice though. It's good.
We're going to have to agree to disagree on this. I think it's a communication thing, personally, because there's not all that many buttons you got to use. You know, like we would jump, dash and jumps, like trying to get to the next bit as soon as possible. Whereas you're like, no man, we're just going to wander over there, unless it's a speed task, of course. And you're like, right, cool, we got to go quickly here, because it's going to be a speed task. See that wall of flame? You don't want to touch that. Like real life, you don't want a wall of flame touching you. But yeah, I think it would be a case. I think it would be a case of slowing down. And when I say heavy communication, I'm talking like WoW, Final Fantasy, raid boss level communication sort of thing. Not just. It will require a lot, and a lot of patience as well, because you are going to go into gamer mode instead of feeling like gamer mode with a new person.
True. Cool. And something else I really wanted to get your opinion on, especially on the podcast. So as the game has progressed, obviously your enjoyment for it increased. I always thought it was going to get there for me. And again, to begin with, I was just like, it's okay. I don't really get the hype. By the end of it, I was also hyped up to chuff. But what did you think about so full spoilers for the end of the game, but the ending of the game, and the game is actually the book that they wrote about the game that they're in, the whole cliche sort of
that was very meta. that was a bit like okay, sure, yeah, but I think that's always where it was leading, was them writing a book together. The story that they've just gone through is probably better than any story they've written. Let's be honest. If they're not published writers, the books have been writing can't have been great. No. You know, like they were writing Amazon Kindle books, like free download ones. You know, like they might have been getting a few dollars for them. I do not think that they were because they wouldn't be going to something like that. If you were the George Martin, the Brandon Sanderson, you wouldn't be going to. Well, you probably would be because you're like, fuck yes, man, I want a Storm Surge. But you'd be like, no, man, I'm going to go write a book and make a few $1 million instead. I don't need to live it. Whereas I think this was probably for. I don't know the right word to use. Less well known. I think these were probably less well known writers that have got a following, maybe, but generally write for themselves and are trying to get published. They're not published writers. So I think it sort of made sense that they were both then learning how to tell a bigger story. And what better to write about than your own experiences, especially if with that experience, you know?
So here's a question. This is getting well meta. Were we playing the retelling of their story, or were we playing the original story? Do you think?
We were playing the original.
We were playing the original. Okay.
We were playing the original.
Because that was also where I got. Because then I'm like, oh, my brain starts to itch. Like, wait, is this the original, or now we're in a simulation?
They wouldn't have known about the conversations between Raider and the people on the screen.
Okay.
You know, when he like the technicians were out the room and he was like, and his investors or whatever were like, "You've got to shut it down." Blah, 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 blah. Like they wouldn't have known about that.
No.
Like there's no. Like Raider was never going to give him an interview, was he? Like they fucked up his machine, so he wasn't going to give him an interview to write about the book. And I don't think it's a little bit rude about them both. I don't think either of them are competent enough writers to think that up. They were writing very basic stories, you know. Like Zoe's one, that was the story, like the dragon story. She did not think about the world building at all. You had to use a dragon egg as a key, but what like just for this one little area, dragon eggs are keys.
Yeah,
I don't have a dragon anymore. How do I open a door? You know, like
oh wait, my dragon's gone. I guess I'm stuck.
Yeah, they were writing from the heart, which is great, but it doesn't. That doesn't write a solid beginning, middle, end book.
No,
you know. So, yeah. And then also, we don't know the whole topic of the book. They could have changed loads of it. Made it way too long.
True. It's true. Is one of the things that got me is that the book cover is the identical cover of the game. So that is also a thing that got me like,
yeah, they could have. Also, that last like throwaway line. I didn't think we were going to call it split fiction. That was your idea.
Yeah,
that whole thing. That was a little corny.
I think, but I do also think that was just it makes you, whether or not it exists, it makes you think like, oh, the writers put that in there because they didn't actually love the name, so they just thought, let's put it in as a joke.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. You never. That could have been the joke in The Office. Like, are we really calling it this? This, really? Really?
It was only supposed to be the test name.
I'm gonna write that in because like, I'm not getting the blame for that one.
The biggest compliment I can say about this game, and it's something that I sort of like thinking back on while we're playing it, is the amount of times this game made me say, holy shit, this is cool. And so often while we were playing, I was like, holy shit, this is cool. Oh man, that was cool. Oh, I really like that bit. Oh, I hope I get to do that again. It's fun to play, really fun.
Yeah, it brought gaming back to just gaming.
Yeah,
you know, there were stakes, but there weren't really stakes. You know, we knew we were going to get through. There wasn't. We knew it was going to be a happy ending.
Yeah,
I don't think it could have ever been anything but a happy ending. But the gaming elements of it were pretty perfect.
Yeah.
And for such a mishmash of game styles within that one game, nailed it every time, I think. Like, I might not play the widest variety of games, but that one ticked all the boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done, Split Fiction. Great game. I will be recommending it.
Solid 8.5 out of 10. Solid.
Nice. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
Oh,
I'm not sure what
I'm
it could
trying to
do
reconnect.
to do more, but yeah,
So, like I
it's
said,
just
I would have liked another level between the subconscious and the final boss. I would have liked one more level.
yeah. It would have been nice to come back because we had the split. There were levels called split. So in theory, before the final boss, we were split and running through it in our own world. But yeah, one more where we come together properly, like we had done previously.
Yeah,
Maybe have some more little funny. It didn't even have to be long. Some funny little side stories to just appease the palate. Because we've had two really intense chapters there
yeah,
beforehand, haven't we?
yeah,
Because
and
they don't have any side
very
missions.
with the narrative as well. They were very
Yeah,
heavy, so it would have been nice to have like that palate cleanser before the final boss. Just be like, cool, yep, he's coming. Like we knew he was coming after Zoe, but like it would have been nice to. I don't know, that would have subverted expectations as well, because we would have been like, right, we're going from Zoe to the final boss. Oh no,
yeah.
if there was just like a detour, something. I don't know, the Ice King cat just was like, no, come back. And we just ended up back there, but it was all fucky. Or more fucky.
Yeah, maybe we could have even like
Yeah, that would have
relived
been
a
sweet.
little bit of everything. Do you know what I mean? But having it be all fucky, that could have
Yeah,
been really cool. Um, because yeah, it that ending, it was a long, because it was almost like all three chapters felt like the ending. So it was a long
yeah.
ending, especially Mio's bit. That felt like it was just a
That
very
felt like it took
long
forever.
chapter, especially compared to Zoe's
Yeah.
personal bit. Again, like I said, the focus always seems to be on
Yeah,
Mio because you get to Zoe's, that we flew through that.
that
Um,
was over and done with like well quick.
yeah, before you get to a Sephiroth
But
level boss fight,
yeah,
just keeps
that would
coming
have been
back.
sweet. And yeah, just like some that would be Seymour. Seymour boss. Seymour's one that always comes back, right? Well, I
Yeah,
haven't played 7. I don't know how many times Sephiroth comes back.
a lot.
It's boss that never dies.
Actually, saying that, that's the one thing they didn't do. RPG. We could have had a sort of Final Fantasy style
Okay.
JRPG battle system. That would have been good. Just for a level.
That would have been sweet. Next time.
I think that's the only thing they missed, so maybe it will be in the next game. That's pretty much all I've got to say on the matter. Is there anything else you want to bring up?
There was no RTS. That would be good. Some strategy.
Yeah, there actually wasn't,
We
was there?
could have done a Zerg rush, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh look, we've got to go get some resources. Go out, get the resources, bring them back to base, and just I don't know. That would have been fun.
That would
If
have
we'd
been
have played
fun.
a MOBA inside the game, just for one like side, that actually might have been a side mission though. We don't know.
Well,
Get
yeah,
all of
we
them. I
could have.
think we only got
Who
to like
knows? That
7.
could
I
have been
think
the
there was
one we
12.
missed.
Yeah. Can you imagine just like a MOBA version? You just play like a mini game of League within
Well,
within Split Fiction. That would have been fun.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is
But then
sort of
again,
the
it
next
was
thing in the next games and stuff. Because again, everything they put in there worked, and it worked with the game.
possibly.
So my guess is if it wasn't there, it just
Yeah.
didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be very happy
Split
to
Fiction.
go and play that the previous one.
Oh yeah, It Takes Two. I never finished it,
Yeah.
or the one before that, because there's two.
So it's the okay. So there's It Takes Two, right? That
Yeah,
was that the last one?
that was the last one.
And
That's
what's the
about
one
husband and
before
wife turned to toys, and then A Way Out about the
that? Okay,
prisoners escaping jail.
that one. So that's the one that had the Easter egg.
Okay, cool.
I've seen some gameplay for that. That like escaping a prison looks quite fun.
Yeah, I've always been
Nice,
curious
we'll
about
pick
it,
that
so
one.
maybe we'll look that one up. Go
Yeah,
back to the start.
I would not have taken a second glance at it if we hadn't played this. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. But I
Yeah.
genuinely happily. If that's more platforming and puzzles, down.
Yeah, and they're good. They're really, really good platform puzzles. Sweet. Well, we'll end the episode there. We liked it that much that we're going to look at playing some of Hazelight's other games. So that's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, you're gonna you get some money from both of us this time.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll buy
Yeah.
this one and you can use my friend pass.
I don't know if they did the friend pass back in the day. That is the only negative. They learned from their lessons.
I'll do some research.
Yeah, we'll research into it. You do some research too at home. Please stick around to the Beyond Worlds podcast here every Monday and Sunday. Well, I say every, most Mondays and Sundays. Every now and again, one will get skipped. Yeah.
Hey, we're both busy. You got baby, full-time job. I got stuff to do, things to build.
You've also got a job where sometimes the hours are crazy. So, yeah. Well, we will leave it at that. Until next time, I've been Beyond Joe.
Yes. Still Stephen at the end.
Thank you for joining us.
In like, how many different worlds were there? There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was a lot of worlds in all of them.